Highmark Stadium, perfectly situated along the Monongahela River in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the site of our United Soccer League midweek matchup between the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Hello, everybody. Mike Watts alongside former ACC defender at Virginia Tech, Morgan Conklin. This is the second all-time meeting between these two clubs, and for Tampa Bay tonight, they're missing Damian Lowe to international duty. They're going to need Neil Collins to be strong at center back.
And he's so dependable, the only player to play every single minute throughout the season in league play for Tampa Bay. A target on set pieces, he's big, can get forward, but his biggest asset is just experience. Especially tonight, as you said, without Damian Lowe. Tam McCandawiri will be back there with him. He's experienced as well, but it just makes Collins that much more important.
He will have his hands full tonight against a former Rowdy, Corey Hertzog, for the Riverhounds.
And the leading goal scorer for this team hasn't scored in the last 7 games, but that doesn't mean he's not doing anything up front. He leads the team in shots also with 47 through 14 games. Kevin Kerr is second on that list with 17 through 14 games. So it might not be falling into place for Hertzog, but you have to know where he is around frame because he's going to get a shot on.
Trying to take his chances better. A look at the starting lineups, and we begin with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They make 3 changes from their last game, Morgan.
Dealing with injuries, call-ups, they're just a bit short-handed, but they still have such a veteran, successful group out there. Look for Joe Cole, Marcel Schaefer, Vingard to really take advantage of this midfield in Pittsburgh with so many new faces.
Both teams are frankly just a little bit short-handed, and for Pittsburgh, they're making 6 changes, but this one is unexpected. Trey Mitchell diving to make a save in pregame warm-ups, was injured falling on his shoulder. He was helped off to the locker room, and Kiesel Broom will get the call in the starting lineup in his stead.
And Broom has some experience throughout this year, but the back line for Pittsburgh is just extremely different right now. No Jamal Jack, Taylor Washington out with yellow card accumulation. Jack Thompson plays wide but likes to defend as well. He's not in the starting lineup. So a big difference in front of Broom tonight. He needs to own the box, needs to be loud, and needs to get his team organized.
Just one of those 4 returning from the last game for Pittsburgh. A team 10th in the Eastern Conference. A win brings them to playoff position. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Rowdies could move into second with a win tonight. The matchup comes your way next.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites, or just visit Cochrane.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How many times have you done it before? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. You got 50 seconds. You have to stay here for a little bit.
Hold for that.
Yeah.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a sports medicine specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Stay low, stay low, change of speed, explode, explode. Trust it. Very nice, very nice.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with an orthopedic specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number 1 Cochrane is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochrane.com now.
Highmark Stadium, what a beautiful evening it is. Summer is very much underway in the Keystone State. The Riverhounds and the Rowdies just minutes away from kickoff. For Tampa Bay, this is a team that's missing key pieces across their lineup. International duty playing a role, injuries, and then there's Deshaun Brown going to DC United, released by the team this week so he can move on to MLS. Morgan, that's 4 or 5 starters most nights.
Yeah, and for Damian Lowe and Deshaun Brown, talking with Stuart Campbell, those are two opportunities. He said we can't keep them from going on, and whether it's playing for your country or going on to MLS. He said we can't keep them from that, so he's happy with it, but it kind of puts him in a tough position. He said this year they decided to have a smaller roster. That was a choice he made, but he said right now it's kind of coming back to bite him a little bit. You never want to have injuries, especially all at one time, so it just makes it a little difficult.
Both these teams, in truth, are dealing with some injury issues. There's Dave Brandt, the head man for this Riverhounds side. This is his first full season, his second year after coming in midstream in 2016, trying to lead this team into playoff position with a win tonight. Joe Cole, one of the biggest names in soccer worldwide, making his first appearance in Pittsburgh. Kevin Kerr on the opposite side, who's scored so many massive goals for this Hounds team. Mayor Stuart Campbell, we did speak with him. He said, this is year number 2 for me as a full head coach, year number 3 overall with the Rowdies. I've never traveled with only 17 players before. It's a bit suboptimal, and in truth, 3 goalkeepers on that roster too. It's really 16 field players. 16 regular players as it might be. Matt Pickens standing on the edge of this huddle. Neil Collins breaking it. There's Kiesel Broom. He's going to make just his 3rd start of the season. Last year, the part-time starter in Harrisburg. Of course, Morgan, injuries happen. Sometimes they happen in pregame warm-ups, but what goes through a player like Kiesel Broom's mind? It only makes it more important that you were able to come in with the right mentality if you did, whether you were starting or on the bench.
Well, and if you're not getting that much playing time, you always have to have your mind turned on, ready to go, and that's a perfect example of why. Things happen, whether it's in practice, whether it's in warm-ups, things happen, and Broom has to be ready for this opportunity, and it's even more difficult now that he has a different back line, different lineups in front of him, because Pittsburgh is trying new things, so it almost works out in his favor right now. Their expectations for how they've been playing are pretty low, so if he can step in and do a solid job, it works out in his favor.
And an early touch for the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Cole, although he stumbles over the ball. And it belongs to the gold and black of Pittsburgh. Mark Kadlesic is the referee today. Ross Kleinstuber and Nathaniel Buck work the lines. Kervin Moon is the 4th official. Cole trying to spring Georgi Hristov. A modern-era leader in both appearances and goals scored for this Rowdies side that's in its first year in the USL, but one of the most historically memorable names in North American soccer. Riverhounds getting good possession in the early going of this affair now. Howell. Knocked back by Walsh. Who moves into that starting forward role as Romeo Parks will come off the bench tonight. And Matt Pickens will move forward, a guy who dealt with injuries at the start of the season as well. Unfortunate not to get the early starts, and then Kira Fitzgerald, who had 3 shutouts, which is still tied 8th in the league, ended up getting injured himself. Pickens taking the position he's held the starter for quite some time with this Rowdy franchise. Walsh. Colliding with Vingard and keeping the ball. Trying to spring through was Fitzpatrick.
In the first couple minutes, you can see Pittsburgh trying to combine, try to go forward. It's not clean. Obviously, it's extremely early in the game, but as it goes on, I want to see them grow into a team that can connect those passes. They have the ideas. They're getting players forward. They're looking for passes. They haven't been great passes, so nothing has really been able to build up from it. But as this game continues, I want to see this team have an identity, especially with all these new players on the field. What is their identity going to be? They're obviously wanting to be aggressive.
Howell trying to combine. It's Fitzpatrick, and he ran right into his own man, Herzog, and Corey Herzog just sort of stumbled forward through his own player's tackle.
And that's kind of the visual part of you're seeing new players playing together. Obviously, they practice together. There's nothing like being on the field in a game against a tough Tampa Bay team that's also looking for points, kind of dealing with the same injury bug going through the team. But I think for Pittsburgh, the main thing is they need to connect passes. That builds confidence, and just see where each other are moving, because I just want to know what their identity is going to be as a team now. Dave Brandt told us he's challenged his team. He expects more from them. He said they're professionals. We should have a little bit more from them. He said maybe I've kind of had the expectations too high. So obviously this team's being challenged. So what's their response going to be?
Walsh picked up by Pickens. Talk about those expectations, and seem to indicate this is a team that can win, can put together good results, can be a playoff team this year. He says they're professionals. They're supposed to be able to handle expectations. That's the ultimate goal for a professional, is to have those expectations. Kerr finds a bit of space. Line drive ahead. Bounds up to Herzog. Ball bounced up on Darnell King in the area. Herzog's pointing around for it. Thought that had hit King on the bicep. And Pittsburgh plays possession away in the 5th minute. Only the second meeting between these two teams. The first was in the U.S. Open Cup a couple of years ago. At the time, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay in different leagues. So 1-0 win for the Riverhounds in 2015's 3rd round. Rob Vincent, the game winner. But this is the first league meeting between these two sides. Fitzpatrick. There's Cole now. Sprays it up the right-hand wing. Dropped off by Patterson. Morrell. Patterson tried to get the cross away. Earns the throw for the Rowdies. Hey fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Patterson trying to gain position against Abubakar, who comes back from Columbus. There he is, comes out of the University of Dayton. High draft pick, 5th overall in the most recent super draft to the Crew. Danny Earls touching it to his left. Broom hits it long. Brought down by Howell. Bouncing off of Morrell. Throw to the Rowdies. You know, when we spoke with Dave Brandt this week, he said, I really think that we responded well. Lost 3-0 against what he called a well-oiled Louisville machine. Said that result didn't need to happen, but that in the time since they arrived on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. back in Pittsburgh, they've trained well, they've responded well.
And what a test for them tonight. They're back at home. That's a really good place to be, especially if you're struggling to find your footing. If you're working through things, it's good to be at home. And then what a challenge against the Tampa Bay team. Some extremely, extremely experienced high-level players, but also a team in Tampa Bay that is also really looking for wins in a bit of a rough patch. So it just makes this matchup even better.
And Busamande trying to make his point, the former Tampa Bay Rowdy himself. running over Cole. It'll be Luke Bowden putting it back in play. Well, got up, but Howell ultimately didn't win the ball. It initially came to Vingard. Schaefer. Collins. Morrell flies to ground, and Kenroy Howell whistled.
The one really promising aspect right now, Tampa Bay is getting forward. They get forward with numbers, but Pittsburgh is responding really well and getting their numbers behind the ball, trying to make it difficult for Tampa Bay. They just have the players. Morrell so quick on the ball there, just has the ball at his feet, is almost dancing around with it at his feet. So they have the players to be so dangerous, but Pittsburgh's trying to make it difficult.
Morrell looking for Collins. Headed up and over Ristoff. Only his third start this year, Morrell. I mean, you look at Darwin Jones is certainly impressive as Walsh wins the ball away. Bowden handles it easily enough for Orlando City man. There's a lot of competition on those wings, and Morrell is a guy who's initially drafted to Chicago early in the second round of the 2016 MLS draft. Brought down by Green. Fans, stay up to date. The latest USL news and information from around the United Soccer League. Tune into USL Coast to Coast Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM-FC Channel 85. Don't forget, XM-FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for the dates and the times. XM-FC available on the Sirius app. Joe Farrell from the Rochester Rhinos appearing last week, along with Chris Tierpak. Last year went to the USL Cup final with Swope
Don't
Park
forget
Rangers.
about our #1 Cochran Fan of the Week
undefeated
contest.
San Antonio FC.
On the Hounds with friends and family on Instagram with the PGHV
Is that not the best seat in the entire house?
To win 4 tickets to a Hounds game. Here's
that
this
floating ship on the far side.
I love just seeing the boats go by, seeing the bikers earlier.
Walsh getting behind the defense, brings it down around Bowden. He shoots, he scores! Siobhan Walsh has his first. One nothing Pittsburgh. It was a bullet in the 11th minute.
I love that Walsh gets that ball, knows Bowden's coming on his end, and is able to cut it back. If he took that first time, Bowden was going to be able to stop it with his first touch. Cuts it back across onto his right foot in a beautiful far post strike. He's made that run a couple times, and whether the ball wasn't on, whether he wasn't making the run at the right time, perfect run, beautiful ball in, and just composure when it came to his feet.
Walsh scored one last year. That's his first this year. And you know, Morgan, we looked at the lineup for Pittsburgh, and we saw guys in the 18 who have played 2 minutes and 45 minutes, and in the case of Walsh, just 43 minutes this year. We were interested to see how they would all come together, and right now, well, it looks like Walsh is very much holding his own. They're looking for another one. Herzog trying to keep the ball. He threw his foot up, and it was a bit dangerous in the end for Darnell King.
Well, Mike, and going back to that comment about Pittsburgh having some guys with not as much experience, that's why I said early on, what is their identity going to be? You could see early on they were trying to push forward. The mindset was going to be, we're going to get numbers forward and we're going to try to create. It wasn't happening. They weren't connecting, but the runs were there. And you could see the players with the ball at their feet. You could see the wheels almost turning, trying to find the runs, trying to find the through balls, and that was just an example where it came off. Walsh made the run, found the ball, and just to be able to keep it, to feel Bowden coming in on his side and to be able to cut it back, to get that on his right foot so he'd have a better angle on goal, and so Bowden wouldn't be able to block it. that's just extremely good awareness and composure.
High arcing bounce off this turf. Wrist off on the turn. Speaking this week with Dave Brandt, he said, we've gotten chances in every game. They had played 13 straight games to either a 1-goal or a draw margin dating back to last season until this Louisville game where they fell 3-0. He said that was the fewest number of chances we've created all year, but in 130 shots, we've only scored 13 goals. The conversion rate just has not been high enough, and, well, Walsh converted. Attack on the right-hand side.
And going to that conversion rate, I mentioned it in the open, their leading goal scorer, Corey Herzog, who has 6 goals on the year, has only scored 1 in the last 7 games. He has 47 shots in 14 games. Kevin Kerr has the next most with 17 shots in 14 games. So they're getting chances, but he's exactly right. I mean, the stats show it. Everything shows it. They're just not connecting. So it's nice to see someone like Walsh, who hasn't played a lot, doesn't have many minutes on the year, to be able to come in early on, get at the back line. You see what he's trying to do, and to be able to finish.
Well, and I'm sure folks at USL headquarters are smiling right now because that's the former USL PDL MVP, Siobhan Walsh, who scored that. Nobody really knew who he was until then, number 9 in the Pittsburgh black and gold. But he burst onto the scene. Well, he's burst onto the scene so far tonight. This ball takes a deflection towards Herzog, and it was knocked out by McCandawary. So a corner for the Riverhounds, who have a 1-goal lead in the 15th minute. It came back in the 11th from Walsh. Kerr looking to strike. Rising up, trying to get ahead to it was Abubakar. Earls playing Kerr again. The two trying to combine on the left-hand wing. Kerr into the sun, but Pickens handles that easily enough. The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world. It features some of the game's top talent and its rising stars. Stay up to date, all the latest league news and information, USLsoccer.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at USL. Folks at .com for USL right now really struggling to keep up with the highlights from yesterday's 6-2 game between Sacramento and RGV. It was amazing they were able to get them up as fast as they did, in truth.
That was definitely a late night.
11:15 start in the East, 8:15 in the West at Sacramento because it was still over 100 degrees when they wanted to kick it off. Bowden. Morrell. Joe Cole. Stuart Campbell has said time and time again, make no mistake, Joe Cole could still hold a job in the EPL quite easily. This ball is lined across. Swung out for a goal kick.
I think that's an area Pittsburgh has to be careful with. I mentioned earlier they do a good job when the ball's out of play or when it's a slow buildup of getting behind the ball and making it difficult to break them down. But if it's a quick transition, Cole was able to find that ball and spring it wide. Their numbers for Pittsburgh are a bit off. They're not able to get behind the ball as fast as they would like. So I think that's something that's going to cause them problems if they can't control the midfield and if there's a quick turnover. If Tampa Bay can go quickly, that's where they'll find their success, especially Darnell King getting forward, adding another number into the attack from that outside back position.
Hollingsworth looking to throw. He got in the way after King had dispossessed the Pittsburgh offense, and the ball turned over midfield off that throw, although Kerr knocking it over Morrell. wonderful sunny evening in Pittsburgh. 1-0 lead for the home side over Tampa Bay, 19th minute. Tampa Bay side that has struggled on the road mightily. 2 wins in their last 22 games away from Al Lang in all competitions. Boubacar has to be careful. You put too much air under that and it's going to jump on the train and travel a couple miles down the road. Wrist-off, looking for Patterson. And Broom there to corral it on the ground.
One of the first real times Broom has been tested, but that's a good job, a nice confidence booster for him. The ball coming in quickly. Boubacar does a nice job of just trying to get a body in there. Not enough, though. Patterson's in behind Broom. A nice job coming off of his line quickly. That's what he needs, a first opportunity where he's challenged, but that works out in his favor, especially when you're just thrown into the lineup really at the last minute.
Boubacar wins it back in the stead of Jamal Jack, who struggled against Louisville. Turn back over as the ball flies by Morrell. Schaefer, Cole. Schaefer tries to wind behind. Patterson deflected it back, and Broom allows it out.
It's time for your PA Lottery Power Pick of the Week.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. How do I get those bright pink Nike socks that he's wearing instead of the yellow jerseys? I mean, the yellow jerseys are fine, but these pink goalkeeping gear, that is the real deal. Morgan, you don't want those? Not interested?
No comment.
Real goalkeepers wear pink. Walsh. Chested down by Morrell, who swings it by Kerr and lobs the ball upfield. Busamande puts it in the seats.
Morrell causing problems right there. Michael Green does a nice job of closing Morrell, but his turn so quickly, tried to play that ball through, wasn't able to connect, but he continued on with his run to the top of the box. So if his pass can connect, if he's found again at the top of the box, that's a really great opportunity for Morrell right at the top corner of the 18. Pittsburgh still trying to drop in and behind. So Tampa Bay, the right idea, getting their players forward. We keep saying how they're dealing with injuries, and they are, but they just have such a, it's hard to say deep because they don't have many players, but such a deep squad.
Mm-hmm. Great competition in every role. There are no wasted roster spots for the Rowdies.
There's just no weak players on this squad. I mean, the fact that Stuart Campbell in our call mentioned a couple times, we are thin, we have a small roster. It's coming to bite me a little bit because I decided that watching them, it's like, really? the names? You think you're thin right now?
And yet, they only have 4 available field players on the bench tonight. It's more of a numbers thing than a talent thing. A free kick for the Rowdies. Looking for Ristoff, and well done by Green. Keep that away from the outstanding striker. Hails from Bulgaria. Ristoff scored in the first 3 games in the USL run for the Rowdies, but just 3 in the last 11. Plays Morrell. Morrell line that off. Kevin Kerr. Well, if you're Dave Brandt, you like the response that you've seen from your team coming back home. Bowden. Green.
And Mike, you asked Dave Brandt are you happy you have a midweek game? Do you guys want to get back out there that quickly? And normally the answer that we hear all the time is yes, our guys want to get back on the field. But his response was, he's a coach that really appreciates training time and doesn't take it for granted. So if they have a couple extra days, so if they were to play Saturday, he would be happy with that. So that was kind of surprising, but I think his team is responding. The guys on the field, they're acting like they're extremely happy to have a quick turnaround, especially with a lot of them getting some experience, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah, Brandt, a guy who comes out of Division III at Messiah College, won 6 national championships, then went to Navy, and then he comes to Pittsburgh mid-season last year as they made a change coaching-wise in the month of May. This is his first real test as a professional coach, but he's passed every test previous. But it does speak the college coach in him, I think, that he's a guy who does appreciate time on the field.
But I think the most important thing is that at the end of the day, a coach can put into place plans, he can train his guys a certain way, but at the end of the day, he's not on the field. And it's up to the players to make the most of their time, to take whatever they're taking from the coach and put it into action. And the fact that Siobhan Walsh stepped up so early in this game, I think speaks volumes. And not just Walsh, a lot of these players are stepping up and just trying to make their mark, and I think that speaks volumes, like I said.
Earls playing it to the end line. It's Herzog. All deflected away. They'll have a second look at this. Kerr arrives. A header that's just over the bar. That from 10, maybe 12 yards out. Had Pickens jumping, but that too high.
It's time.
You can see Kerr coming in late. He put his hand up in the air, saw he had the space, found his way right around the penalty mark. A nice ball in from Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth is usually an outside midfielder for this team. He's played there a lot so far this season. I was hoping we would see him get forward. You never really know, especially with different players out there. You don't know how he will act with other players' tendencies. But I like the fact that he picked a moment there, got forward, saw that he had Kerr in the box. I think that's a good sign, and I'm not sure if this Pittsburgh's team is going to be one that can control the midfield and spring outside backs forward. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that tonight, but I think it's promising that Hollingsworth can pick and choose his moments and still make an impact getting forward.
Herzog collided with McCandawary. I don't know a lot of teams in the USL that can control the midfield against Joe Cole, and whether it's Vingard or Schaefer, it's a long list. Really outstanding players at a high level. There's Green. Joe Cole trying to put the pressure on Busamande. Earls snuck that behind. Ball touched through for Howell. Kerr. Herzog into a little bit of space. Tries to touch it through. There's a player behind. Christoph and Bowden playing catch. Morrell got by Fitzpatrick. Morrell still going, dummied through, looking for Ristoff.
Ristoff not on the same page with Patterson right there on that dummy. Morrell has way too much time on the ball. He does a really nice job creating, but it's also because Pittsburgh gave him miles of space as he decided to come central, to cut to the middle of the field, to get around the top of the box. Still didn't have many players on him.
Walsh turned, and Schaefer goes flying down. Looked like Walsh had thrown his forearm out. Well, Tampa Bay right now really can't afford to lose anybody. And if you think right now, as we look at this Schaefer non-foul.
Just takes a cleat right to the top of the ankle. That one really hurts. You have no protection there except your sock. And you have a cleat hitting you right on the top of the ankle. That's extremely painful.
I mean, you think about it, Schaefer available both as a midfielder and as an outside back, and you've got Luke Bowden playing on 4 yellow cards this year, so one more and he could find himself out of the next game, and all the injuries and international duty. Really thin group that can't afford to lose numbers. There's Bowden. Christoph pushed away from goal. And the whistle goes against Kerr. Watch Morrell. There's nobody going towards him yet.
Mike, I was just going to say that. He looked like he was trying to go for the quick short ball, and it wasn't on. You see Kerr starting to step out.
And instead he plays it low, falls in the 6-yard box. Vingard turns, lined out.
Look at you picking up the tactical decisions.
I learn it all from you. Bowden headed down, it's Cole! Broom got there. And denied the English legend.
This save is brought to you by Purely.
As if his play before wasn't a confidence booster, going against Joel Cole, who just has a nice little touch, doesn't have time to take a second. Goes hit it as it's coming off the half bounce. Kiesel Broom, good reactions getting low, but Pittsburgh isn't out of the woods this corner kick.
First big save at the half-hour mark. Morrell able to handle the second ball through. There's King. Now Cole. Joe Cole's got 4 goals this year and a trio of assists as well. Cole the target here, but the ball just a bit out of his reach.
And it was just a nice little flick on Joe Cole going for that far post with his left foot. Broom knows where he's going with it, just gets down before. That's a beautiful save and keeping his team in the lead, because Joe Cole is a player who can easily put that away. If Broom wasn't able to go down, that would find the back of the net.
Cole just unlucky not to have his 5th. Kiesel Broom in for the injured Trey Mitchell. Went down in pregame warmups. Vingard trying to circumvent Earls. Morrell is beyond his outstretched foot. Michael Green, in year number 6 with Pittsburgh, came out of the Crew Academy from the south side of Cleveland in Strongsville, Ohio. Bowden playing to the feet of Pickens. Tampa Bay trying to snap a 6-game winless skid, all competitions. Down a goal early in the 11th minute, Siobhan Walsh. Sneaking behind the defense and netting his first goal of the season for Pittsburgh. Collision, and Busamande threw his arms out. Schaefer was getting forward. Collins stepping in on Walsh. Morrell dispossessed. Kerr with Cole on his backside.
Kevin Kerr, just a nice job getting his touch in there to keep the ball from Morrell, and then able to keep possession and play out of it.
And in the end, it results in an offside call against Corey Herzog. Goes over to Tam McCandawary, slaps his hand. Flag up on the other side of the field. Stu Campbell, just 39 years young. Talked about the difficulty of playing at Pittsburgh on this turf field. It's the first game here in Pittsburgh as the head coach of this Rowdies side. Game 2 of a 3-game road swing for Tampa Bay. As the whistle blows and Herzog goes to ground.
I just don't see why that's necessary from Collins. We talked a lot with Dave Brandt for Pittsburgh, and that's his biggest frustration if it happens to his own team. So I've kind of been keeping my eye out a little bit more for just unnecessary fouls, especially since he said that. But to see it on the other side, it's just not needed. Collins can just stand his ground. He's bigger than Herzog. If he just stands there, almost box him out from getting to the ball if he gets around you. He has the body to do so.
Earls. Did Pickens touch it? Herzog is screaming yes. Pickens is saying no. There are others in the stands that are apparently taking Pickens' side. Looks like it to me.
It definitely looked like he tipped that one over.
Herzog playing it back to Earls. Goal kick, Tampa Bay.
I'm not sure why Pickens is still complaining about that one. At least from that replay from our angle, it definitely looked like he tipped it over the bar.
You know, nobody would know better than him, and it's possible that our eyes deceived. Herzog sliding in on Collins. McCandleweary with the long ball. Kristoff is bargaining for one ball, got two, throws into Vingard. Morrell a bit of space, quickly closed in upon. Howell picks him up. There's Collins, the blogging footballer, he's been called. If he weren't a soccer player, it said he'd be a journalist, but I think the best journalist in his family isn't him, it's his son. Phenomenal Father's Day video. Cole tried to do something special there, ultimately fell down, and Kerr whistled for the foul on the edge of the penalty area.
That's the second foul Kevin Kerr has given up right on the edge of the 18-yard box. He just right there needs to stand up Cole. Cole is a player that's going to try to be tricky around you. Tried to pull it back, get it behind his leg. So Kerr right there just needs to keep his eye on the ball and just stand it up.
Meanwhile, both Cole and Schaefer have shown the ability to knock the ball in from this kind of angle, this kind of distance. It is Cole. Right into the wall. He'll get a second look at it, bouncing it into the box, looking for a handball. An appeal that goes unheard. Hasn't been lack of chances for the Rowdies. Cole stopped earlier, and this time handballs.
It's a close one.
First at Busamande, but it looked like his arm was in. Then it was Kerr who appeared to have his arm outstretched. Boubacar outwitting Cole in the moment. Ball takes a funny hop. Candleweary. Walsh tried to keep it in. And the Riverhounds control it in the midfield. Ball bounces past, and Howell takes over. Howell brings it onto his left, tried to play it through. He's got it again, playing the left-hand wing. Ball takes a deflection and winds off the ad boards behind the goal. Fitzpatrick getting forward for Pittsburgh in the 39th.
Well, and Kenroy Howell just deciding to be the playmaker there, gets the ball right around midfield, dribbles forward, goes for the shot, nothing there, but is able to get the rebound, try to find the ball back out wide to Fitzpatrick. Pittsburgh's making the most of chances. They're not always great chances, but they're making the most of them.
Kevin Kerr. That ball took a headed deflection, and it was off the Rowdies. The bearded face of Matt Pickens scowls towards the opposite corner now. So now it's Danny Earls. Made his season debut on the 15th of April against Charlotte and has not played since. Earls lines the corner. Darnell King clears it out. Hollingsworth settling it back, and Green has to line it out of play. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC, Channel 85. And don't forget, SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Dates and times, USLsoccer.com. Upcoming edition of that show will air 7 o'clock Eastern time and will through the month of July. Herzog had that take a horrific deflection.
I really love that entry ball, though. Siobhan Walsh just left it. That ball to the second forward, I think, is so underrated and isn't played enough. Because Walsh is checking, brings a defender with him. If you can play the second one in, Corey Herzog, he can play it for another through ball back to Walsh, or if that touch comes across, he's able to keep it at his feet.
Howell looking for Walsh. McCandawary flying it to Pickens. Vingard, the Dane, playing to Morrell. Goal kick to the Riverhounds in the 42nd minute. Hey fans, the USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world, with some of the game's top talent and its rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information from around the league by visiting USLsoccer.com. Follow them at USL. Plenty of young talent in this league. You think to the USL PDL and all the different players that are playing in this game tonight. Fitzpatrick and Abubakar playing in the 2016 PDL champion side from Michigan, the Bucks. That path to pro is looking pretty good at this present moment. We already mentioned the PDL MVP, number 9 in gold, Siobhan Walsh, in the middle of your screen. Cole. Cole cuts inside. He draws so many players to him whenever he has the ball on his foot. Earls fouled by Vingard.
A bit of a professional foul there. It obviously was way back in Pittsburgh's defensive third, but at that moment, Vingard was getting beat. Earls was on his way to play the big switch ball. Pittsburgh was about to be on a run. That was definitely just a professional foul to stop that from happening.
Nothing too vicious about it.
Respectful, just a little jersey tug.
Right. This is a guy with only one yellow card this year. He knows how to commit a professional foul.
Very respectful then.
High hop, Walsh plays it to the feet of Howell, who turns, and Pickens slides down to make the save.
I think what's making Pittsburgh pretty dangerous going forward is they are playing this 4-4-2. Fitzpatrick, Howell are wide, but they've found their way central throughout the game. They're not staying wide, they're not staying central. They're almost floating and picking their moments, when to come in, when to make their run central, or when to find space wide, and I think that's providing a different look for them. So it's not just Pittsburgh going forward to Herzog and Walsh. They have some other options as well.
King waiting to throw 20 yards up the far touch line. Walsh circling back, waiting for some runners to join. Howell touches it, looking for Herzog.
McAndawiri coming up big there to stop that ball going through to Herzog. That's when he's extremely dangerous, when he slips behind the back line. He shows a lot in front of the back line, but there's just times where he just decides to slip in behind, and those little balls through are so dangerous. McAndawiri did a really good job of just being aware of that.
McAndawiri in for Damian Lowe, who's out on international duty. Only beaten once this Tampa Bay defense in the first half. Javon Walsh getting behind and cashing in. This was a good half for Pittsburgh. They got the job done through 45. Now they need to finish.
That's the key right there. They had a really good start. Still had opportunities going forward through the middle. Nothing extremely dangerous going forward, but good enough at that point. But on the other side, Tampa Bay has also just been pretty average. They've had moments, but it needs to just be turned up a notch. The intensity isn't quite there. They're getting numbers forward, creating, but they just need that final intensity to be able to finish.
Rowdies have been stopped a couple of times. Walsh would not be stopped there, as first of the year in the 11th minute. Stats and highlights from the first half when we return.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites. Or just visit Cochran.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How many times have you done it before? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. You got 50 seconds. You have to stay here for a little bit.
Hold for that.
Yeah?
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a sports medicine specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Stay low, stay low. Change of speed, explode, explode. Trust it. Very nice, very nice.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with an orthopedic specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number One Cochran is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
Kristen, tell us a little bit about what you got right there.
Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead. It's a pensive look onto this turf field at Highmark Stadium. It's all positive for the Riverhounds, though. as there's plenty of excitement down on the field, catching the full and complete attention of the crowd here in the Steel City. Mike Watts back with Morgan Conklin. Here are your halftime statistics. The Rowdies outpossess Pittsburgh. I think they got a couple of good opportunities off as well, but the Riverhounds buried their chance and the Rowdies did not.
And Tampa Bay outpassed. They have about 50 more passes than Pittsburgh. Looking at Opta, and that's one of their strong suits. They have the numbers. They can build up. They've created some chances, but just hasn't been the one, hasn't been good enough. I think if they can continue to possess with a purpose, that's the key, possessing with a purpose, going forward with energy, with effort, and then create good chances going forward, continue to get their numbers. They've had so many chances around frame, but choose the right decision and then capitalize on it. Pittsburgh came out hot. That's what they needed. They needed a good start. Walsh getting on the board early was huge for them because there's just so much less pressure on them now. They can try to go for it, but they're not pushing for that goal that they've just been looking for. So at this point, they've been playing good defense. I expect to see that in the second half. I think they're going to be even more difficult for Tampa Bay to break down. But the Rowdies can do it if they come out with energy and just come out with a little more intensity.
The Riverhounds, 3 goals allowed last game. That was a season high. Pittsburgh 1, Tampa Bay 0. Highlights and moments.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey, she's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
I'd be remiss if I didn't take this moment to say thank you to Marc-Andre Fleury, who was taken in the expansion draft by the new Las Vegas Knights. Pittsburgh, thanks you for your tremendous service to the Penguins organization. It's halftime, and the Riverhounds have a 1-0 lead over the Rowdies at halftime. We tell you how it happened when we come back.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites, or just visit Cochran.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How many times have you done it before? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. You got 50 seconds. You have to stay here for a little bit.
Hold for that.
Yeah?
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a sports medicine specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Stay low. Stay low. Change of speed. Change of speed. Explode. Explode. Trust it. Very nice. Very nice.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with an orthopedic specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number One Cochran is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
Mike Watts back with Morgan Conklin. 1-0 Riverhounds over the Rowdies. Glad to have you with us as fans lining up waiting for fans to return. What an exciting affair this has been thus far. How about we look at our first half highlights, Morgan?
Yeah, it started off early. Pittsburgh really on the front foot. That is something that they wanted to do early on. Corey Herzog getting on the ball. A nice look into Siobhan Walsh, making his run in behind. Composure. Luke Bowden is coming on his backside. He feels it, cuts the ball back over to his right foot. Just a slotted finish.
11th minute. 1-0, his first goal of the season for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. He did score once against OCB last season. We move forward. Patterson cut down by Broom.
Kiesel Broom, one of the first times he was really challenged, did a great job coming out on Patterson, who had the edge on a Bubar.
And we see Kerr just loft this over the bar.
Kerr found that spot. You could see him making the run, had his hand up in the air, knew he wanted to be there, just wasn't able to finish.
We move forward. Joe Cole swept aside by Broom.
Broom's second big save of the first half, getting down low, getting his hand in the way. Joe Cole, though, looking for that far post so quick on that half bounce.
Coordinating producer Brian Duvall gave me 13 different puns about Kiesel Broom there. And this foul on Herzog, a yellow card for Collins, and then the late opportunity, Earls over by Pickens.
Just a really nice strike, has the movement coming towards goal. Pickens doing all he can to get the little tip.
A look at the Eastern Conference standings, and right now Tampa Bay with 15 games played, the most in the conference, this their 16th game, most in the USL. They're in third, they could be in second at the end of the night. Meanwhile, if you look at this Pittsburgh side, they could skyrocket right into the picture.
Yeah, a lot of teams in that middle of the pack, but Charleston, Louisville, Tampa Bay kind of starting to separate themselves, but really Charleston's the only team I would say that's in a really good position, but it's nothing like the Western Conference where you really see those two top teams completely separating themselves from everyone else.
Siku Kone and the Steel all the way up to 4th place in the Eastern Conference. This is a stretch of 10 consecutive days of soccer. On Friday, Orlando City B and the Rochester Rhinos match up at Capelli Sports Stadium. But on Saturday, look at this schedule. Ottawa Fury and New York at 2. You could basically sit down from there and just watch games the rest of the afternoon.
Well, and my eyes are just on that nightcap. Phoenix Rising, Real Monarchs looking to continue their streak, but I'm not sure if Drogba's going to let that one happen.
Phoenix Rising is saying that they're going to melt the Monarchs. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees. It might be 105 at kickoff at 7:30 out in the Pacific time zone. A look at the USL power rankings from USLsoccer.com. You mentioned the Real Monarchs side that is first in the West, with San Antonio still undefeated right behind them. Do you agree with the top couple of teams there? Is that the order you put them in?
Yeah, but after last night, I think Sacramento might have something else to say about that as of late. But I mean, Real Monarchs, no surprise there. Louisville City definitely has been on the strong foot lately.
Rhinos, a team that's defensively outstanding the last couple of weeks, and the Rowdies hoping to pick up 3 points here and spring further forward. Riverhounds ready to go for this second half of play. At least the fans are, that's for sure. Sun shining down over Highmark Stadium. A good crowd tonight. A group that has played so well at home at this genuinely outstanding view, this outstanding stadium. Just outside of downtown Pittsburgh, across the Monongahela. If you are Tampa Bay, you already spoke, Morgan, about the importance of coming out with a little more intensity. How do you come out of the locker room and try and string together more passes? Because it seemed like they were lacking that one pass that led to the goal more than the goal itself.
Well, I think it just starts with confidence and knowing they can do it, and Tampa Bay is a team that knows they can be successful. So I think it just comes down to you're back out for the second half, start stringing a couple passes together, build up, but get your players forward, find Patterson, wrist off. Morel has been really good on the ball tonight. Joe Cole obviously always makes an impact, so I think it's just finding those players and just moving off the ball and work with one another.
Let's try this again. Here we go. On to the second half. Pittsburgh moves right to left. Rowdies left to right. Earl pops it up. And there's Luke Bowden. Kerr trailing. Cole into the corner. Mike Watts, Morgan Conklin with you. 46th minute. Goal came in the 11th. Siobhan Walsh. Rowdies trying to respond early in this second half. Team that came off what was just a heartbreaking draw against Richmond at City Stadium. Frank Tayu scoring in his debut for the Kickers in the 90-plus 4th minute to snap away a road win from a Rowdies team that's really starved for one.
When talking with Stu Campbell about that this week, he said it's one of those draws that it just feels like a loss the way it ends. He said he thought his team played well enough, but they just turned off at that moment. They thought the game was over, and it's always frustrating, especially on the road, for it to end that way because you don't feel like you earned any points in those games.
Cole put it in the air, and Abubakar plays it back to Broom. Giesel Broom has done very well for not knowing an hour before the game that he would be starting. It was about 35 to 40 minutes before kickoff that we first saw Trey Mitchell being helped off to the locker room. Was diving to make a save in pregame warm-ups and fell awkwardly on his shoulder. Of course, it's worth noting, of course, that there is no backup goalkeeper for the Riverhounds because of that fact this evening. Adewale was a late addition to the roster. Was that out of the reach of Kerr? Morel. Vingard. Laying it over Green. Cole strips it away from Howell. There's Ristoff. Firing it across.
I think something that's letting Tampa Bay down a little bit is just the decision making, because they have the numbers, they have the players, the personnel. But at that moment, I don't think a cross from Joe Cole is the best option because Morel's not completely in the box. So when that ball comes all the way across, it just finds its way out of bounds because no one's able to get on the back end of it.
Broom lines it upfield. Of course, they're missing Deshaun Brown, who was released this week and went on to DC United, although his role had been diminished of late. Foul there at midfield. And Kerr scoops it ahead. Fitzpatrick back out to Kerr now. Scored or assisted 19 goals last season for the Riverhounds. Green headed, comes to Fitzpatrick, saved by Pickens, and cleared away by Vingard.
That far post run is what I just mentioned Tampa Bay was missing when Joe Cole played that final cross. To have a player come in late and find that far post keeps the ball in play. And right there you see Fitzpatrick just has so much time, knows where he wants to hit it with that volley, has the time to see where it's going, and put one on frame. Pickens, a really nice job of defending that from just point blank range.
He's made a couple of really solid saves in the contest. Busamande. There's Vingard. Morel works on Hollingsworth. Service that's deflected by Abubakar. Busamande there.
And just as this ball comes across Fitzpatrick, the players are sucked in with the ball that comes across, so that far post run is even more dangerous because by the time it gets to him, he doesn't have defenders around him. They're trying to shift and then defend him.
Morel on the ensuing corner. Bowden. Green lines it toward midfield. King cleans up what could have been a bit of a mess there for the Rowdies. Green plays it out over the far touchline.
The Riverhounds would like to wish a happy 6th birthday to Noah Hunt, happy 9th birthday to Ben Hunt, happy 5th birthday to Owen Ratz, a happy 14th birthday to Cassie Greenwald, and a happy 11th birthday to Alyssa Terza.
Switching the point of the attack, it's Morel on the right. Hollingsworth slides in, cleats it out.
Beautiful defense right there. Morel, a player so quick, so good on the ball. Technical once the ball at his feet, really good 1v1. So for Hollingsworth just to be able to stand him up, get down low to push that ball out of bounds, that's just really good defense.
Morel plays it to the top of the area. Schaefer winds that ball toward the 6-yard box. Morel and Fitzpatrick contact that goes without a whistle. King pushing up. Got the service in. Green brings it down. Vingard. Karam's out into the corner. Wrist off. Bowden trying to combine. It came now to Vingard. Schaefer back on it near the end line. Went down. Pittsburgh still not in the clear yet. Morel. Cole. There's the former Wolfsburg man, Schaefer. Bowden arriving again. Morrell. King has found space now. A lot of white jerseys in the area. Snapped away by Boubacar. Sustained pressure right now from Tampa Bay. As King goes barrel rolling out of play, and they want to move quick.
I think Coach Stu helping him out a little bit with that one, putting the ball down, telling him to get it back in play.
First time where it really feels like the Rowdies have had good sustained possession. As I say that, they kicked the ball out of play.
They were able to just push forward, but if it wasn't on, they brought it back. And then you would see Bowden get forward, and then King get forward the other outside back. So I think they were just able to slowly push up the field and possess while doing so. It's that purposeful possession. Maybe they weren't always going forward, but they knew what they wanted to go with it, and they wanted to pass where they would be in a good situation.
Looked like they were doing better with it there. Hollingsworth trying to play keep away with Patterson. Morrell to throw. And cedes to Darnell King, who played at Florida Atlantic, a 3-time leading scorer for FAU. Now an outside back for Tampa Bay. Boubacar got his foot to it, kept alive. Morrell. King cuts to create space, serves the ball, looking for Ristoff. Cole. Where does the shot come from? That's the question now for the Rowdies. Cole headed away. Busamande was there.
Mike, it almost feels like we are in the last couple minutes of a game. Tampa Bay's down 1-0 and just sending numbers forward, trying to keep the ball in their attacking half, and just sending crosses in, sending balls in. That's what that last couple minutes just looks like.
And then the break was on, and Vingard sliding in, picking up his second yellow card of the year.
Number 32, Martin Vingard.
Earl's going to take that big touch. Vingard not wanting him to get by him. Going down low for the tackle. But Earl's trying to get that ball and play quickly and go the other way is what causes Vingard to make that tackle.
Pickens moving quickly. It's Luke Bowden, who's missed 5 games this year, was ill for a while. Able to return to the starting order in the U.S. Open Cup. Switching up to Morrell on the right side. Morrell cutting to his left, playing it low. Broom dives, allowed a bit of a rebound. Patterson arrived. Broom had already pulled it in.
And Morrell's been so good with the ball at his feet in 1v1. I don't mind him trying to take that. He didn't look very comfortable when he cut it into his left foot. With the shot he put on frame, didn't look like he got enough behind it. But the fact that he's just choosing to take players on, I think that's a great option because he's been successful with that so far this game.
There's Vingard playing on a yellow card now. A lot of gold jerseys in a small area if they can exploit it. Patterson trying to get around. And then the whistle blows against Patterson.
Before that foul was called, it didn't look like much, but when the initial ball was played in, Patterson beat Agbusamande to the ball. And that's something for this Pittsburgh defense they have to be aware of. The center backs need to be switched on. Agbusamande has to be seeing where the ball's going and making that first effort to take the first step to get to that ball, because if Patterson has the first touch on it, he can then play back. He can maybe look for a teammate to play a cross in, maybe try to turn there right at the edge of the 18. So as a center back, he almost looked surprised when the ball was played through. Agbusamande just has to be ready for that. I don't know if it was just a lapse in concentration, but Tampa Bay is a team that if there's that one moment he's not paying attention, Martin Patterson goes for that ball, and if there's no foul, if it continues to play, they can put the ball in a dangerous position.
Meanwhile, some tempers flaring on the far touchline. Pittsburgh concedes a foul in the 58th, turning to the 59th minute. McCandawary. Lobbed into the opposite half, and McCandawary heads it away. Herzog pushed forward as well, throwing into Kerr. Flag up, offside. As Pittsburgh prepares to go to their bench for the first time. Romeo Parks preparing to come on. And he will replace Siobhan Walsh. '60th minute that he makes his way off the field. He scored his first goal of the season in the 11th minute.
And for a player coming into this game with not much game experience on the year, what a start for him early on in the game. The 11th minute, a nice ball in, good vision from Corey Herzog, but just composure. Able to feel a defender, cut the ball back, get the ball where he wanted it on his right foot. And just a really nice finish. So Siobhan Walsh didn't do too much in the second half. I don't think Pittsburgh has had as many opportunities, but a very strong first half for him and a good showing.
Now it's up to Parks to defend a bit here as well, trying to keep this 1-0 Riverhound lead.
Tonight's Cleveland Brothers blue collar player of the game. Go to
Jack Thompson came in as well, replaced Kenroy Howell, pardon. Kicked away from King. There's Bowden. Vingard winds it to King now. Morrell dropping further. There's Tam McCandawary. Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, mosey on down to NikeSoccer.com. Morrell trying to get away from Herzog, who is in hot pursuit. Tag now to King. Serves across, looking for Cole, off of Green. Corner, another one for Tampa Bay.
Jack Thompson, who just entered the game for Pittsburgh there, did a really nice job of being aware. As Morrell had the ball, he started to come central, saw there was a player wide, and decided to stay.
Crossed into the area, and an opportunity right on the doorstep as McCandawary controlled that initial ball. Pickens backstopping for the Rowdies. Parks trying to hold it in. Vingard throws. Morrell sprinting in on Hollingsworth. The two colliding. And they try and play quickly. Ball is lined by Vingard. And somehow that was kept in play, and Hollingsworth blasts it back toward midfield.
Pittsburgh cannot break this pressure. They've dropped in behind to try to make it hard for Tampa Bay to play through them, but once they win it, they just give it right back. They've done it a time or two.
Bowden. Cole. That just got out over the end line as it had skittered through the legs. Lawless Abubakar. And right now it's clear. You can hear the coaching staff trying to implore Corey Herzog to hold on to the ball. They're trying to find a way to flip the field a little bit because it seems like it's a little more than tilted at the present moment.
And Hollingsworth has done a good job a couple times of finding the ball, whether it's winning it defensively or just getting it off of a pass deep in his corner, but he's just looked long a couple times. That's a time where he has to look up and see what's around him, but he also needs options, whether it's Parks or Herzog moving off of him to have somebody to pass to.
Morrell trying to play Herzog, who bowls over Hollingsworth. Herzog trailing away. Vingard stripped it. Vingard falls down, and that was a clean tackle. But again, Tampa Bay quick to recover the ball. McCandawary playing to Morrell. His feet caught up a bit as Earls arrived. There's Schaefer. 65th minute, goal in the 11th for Pittsburgh. Tampa Bay in the last 20 minutes really looking good, but unable to come away with the shots necessary to really test Kiesel Broom. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the United Soccer League by tuning into USL Coast to Coast. Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC on Channel 85. Don't forget, SiriusXM FC airs the USL Game of the Week. Check USLsoccer.com for all the dates and the times. Bowden. Collins going backward.
I was just going to point out that Pittsburgh cannot keep the ball at this moment, but they were lucky that they were bailed out by Collins, who decided just to hit it out for a throw-in. So this is a moment they need to keep the ball. Don't throw this chance away.
Earls trying to find a bit of space. Backpedaling. And they do indeed give it away. Ristoff wants to move.
Hounds fans, please remember that immediately following the Riverhounds game and autograph session this evening, Tom McGuff will join
Parks.
Hounds chaplain Kevin Truman.
That may be his first touch of the game.
Program and testimonial with Hounds players and coaches in section 102.
Collins stepped in. Cole. Patterson still chasing there.
I hope that wasn't a goalkeeper with
No.
the hands.
There are not a lot of people on that bench. There's only 6. 2 of them are goalkeepers. So the odds are pretty high that that's a problem.
Hoping that wasn't one of them.
This is a team without Damian Lowe to international duty. Michael Nanshoff, Justin Chavez, Leo Fernandez also unavailable tonight due to injury. That ball hitting the plexiglass in front of some of those fans. Patterson, Cole creates a little bit of space. And again, decides to play wide. There's Cole. It slipped under his foot. He slides in to try and keep it. Romeo Parks.
Why not keep the ball if you're Pittsburgh? And it's so easy to say Romeo Parks right there gave the ball away, but he also didn't have options. If he can turn out and find the other side, Ben Fitzpatrick, Michael Green, why don't you move off the ball? Why don't you pull wide? Green, drop off and pull wide. Fitzpatrick, put your feet on the touchline. So there's space so Parks can turn and maybe find the other side. I think Pittsburgh, I've said it a couple times, they're having trouble keeping the ball once they get it, but it's not just the passer. Sometimes, yes, the passes have been off, but it's a lot of times a lot of the players off the ball aren't doing their work.
Pickens arrives, and it feels like Tampa Bay has not been nearly lethal enough when they've had this possession in the second half. There really hasn't been that one incisive pass.
Well, and Pittsburgh has been lucky that Tampa Bay's chances haven't come off, and they haven't been able to be dangerous enough in front of goal. But if you continue to give a team chance after chance, not just in front of goal, but in their attacking third, as a defensive team, you don't want that, because it's just waiting for the moment when they put one away.
Schaefer just too far. Chip to the top of the penalty area. King tried a low line drive that results in a corner for the Rowdies in the 69th minute.
And for Pittsburgh, it's not a lack of defending. You see Corey Herzog track that ball all the way to his defensive corner, but it's once they win it, it's not good enough. And it's forcing them to defend once again, forcing them to put more effort into defending.
Morrell. Ristoff has arrived. Now Cole. Cole skies it into the box. Comes down for Schaefer. Two players really going at it back in the box. Like you had a better eye on that than I did.
Collins fell on top of Abubakar, and it almost looked like he just sat on him and squeezed him a little with his legs, as he just wasn't in any rush to get back up and get back into the play. He almost just took his time getting up, maybe made Abubakar feel a little bit more than he wanted to, not being able to get up there. It's almost like when you're at the bottom of the dog pile, they pinch you a little bit. I think one of those situations.
Well, now there's a chance the Riverhounds to break this spell of possession by the Rowdies. It's Parks. They tried to give and go with Parks, but Fitzpatrick couldn't hold on. King. Earls as Cole took over. Cole looking for Ristoff. The Rowdies can look forward to finishing their three-game road swing on the 1st of July at Charleston, and then they host FC Cincinnati on Thursday, July 6th on ESPNU, Al Lang Stadium, in what's sure to be a really good rematch of two teams that had some early bad blood a couple of months ago. King dropping back for Morrell again. Could there be a little room here for Schaefer? Touches that into the middle. There's a collision there. Patterson didn't win a call. Instead, lines that toward the Steel Army.
Tampa Bay already with 5 shots in the second half, just putting the pressure on Pittsburgh. Schaefer finding the ball central, able to find that slip ball. It's too easy to play that ball centrally in between players right to his attacker, who's really holding off, boxing off a player. It's just too easy right now for Tampa Bay. If they can finish, they're in a good spot, but the buildup and what they're creating is just way too easy.
So that 9 shots is a little bit misleading, isn't it?
I mean, they almost seem like they've had more chances than that. I mean, 9's a good amount. They almost even seem like they've had more just because they've had so much of the possession this half, and it's been in their attacking third.
Herzog driving toward the end line. Instead of the goal kick, it's a throw deep in Tampa Bay territory. A Riverhounds side without Kay Banjo and Victor Soto. Bolshin, who had played previously with the Rowdies, is out due to a Achilles injury as well. We've talked already Abubakar going up and down from Columbus, but Joe Greenspan is back with Minnesota after what was a really fruitful loan. Tightening up this defense for Pittsburgh. Injuries and loans making it difficult. Morrell getting behind. Morrell onto his left. Plays it for Cole. The net mostly open. Broom was trying to get back across, but Cole didn't challenge.
Joe Cole just been so dangerous, not just in front of net getting shots off, but creating on the other end of that. Morrell, when the ball is at his feet, he is making good decisions. He goes when he can, doesn't see it's on for him, decides to bring it back, find Cole. Those two players are combining very well tonight. I think anytime the ball is at Morrell's feet, a Pittsburgh defender has to be tight on him.
Morrell just his third start and 8th appearance of the season in game number 16 for Tampa Bay. And they do have Darwin Jones available off the bench. There's been a spark plug at times. Thompson. Racing up the line is Hollingsworth. Throws King away.
I didn't see that. I thought that was a really good build-up for Pittsburgh. That's something that they have been missing. Just possessing when they can, getting Hollingsworth forward when he's on. I think there's a little tug, but I think as King's going down, he reaches back for Hollingsworth. I don't think that's a clear foul right there on Pittsburgh, but that last little possession spell they had is something they have not had at all in the second half, and something they need to do more, especially up 1 goal. And they can break that Tampa Bay pressure, keep it, pass the ball around, and if there's a chance to play an outside back forward, an outside mid into the game, do it. But if not, just keep it. Make a decision that it's okay to pass to your teammates. You don't just have to cough the ball back up to Tampa Bay and defend once again.
And on the restart, McCandawary and Herzog both going for the ball, and in the end, McCandawary allowed Herzog play it out. And just like that, Tampa Bay is on the ball again in the 76th minute. They've trailed since the 11th. Yvonne Walsh scoring his first goal of the season in just his 6th appearance. Pittsburgh going to the bench. Stephen Okai. That's enough for Ben Fitzpatrick.
Riverhounds substitution. Number 7.
Third and final sub for the Riverhounds. Comes in the 77th minute.
You would think maybe a defensive sub would be made a little later, maybe bringing in Jamal Jack, a center back, can play center midfield. But talking with Dave Brandt earlier this week, he wasn't too thrilled with how Jack has been playing lately. So maybe that's a coaching decision to give someone else a chance to close out the game.
That just got over the back heel of Parks, and Okai so good at holding onto the ball, such an adept passer. You can see him there square in the middle of your screen, coming on with fresh legs and attacking Morrell on the ball. Well done to keep it away from Herzog. Savage is standing at the midfield line, waiting to come in. And Martin Vingard's number, the one shown by the fourth official. Vingard picking up a yellow card in the 55th minute.
Tampa Bay substitution.
Savage makes his 5th appearance of the season.
In for number 32, Martin Vingard.
Savage had started the previous game, that 1-1 draw with Richmond. First sub for a Rowdies side that among field players only count Darwin Jones, Zach Portillos, and Kyle Porter among their men tonight. Cole attacking the end line, bringing Earls down, sliding the ball across, but he didn't do it before that ball leaked out.
Danny Earls looks tired. He's working so hard in that midfield area. It's not easy when Joe Cole decides to go wide, decides to spin you a little bit and then get a cross off, but Earls is working extremely hard in that midfield area. But look for Tampa Bay to try to take advantage of the fact that Earls is tired. He's a player that he's going to track, so if Cole makes that run to the corner, a Pittsburgh player has to go with him. So as they start to tire down, look for Tampa Bay to really try to play some of those players in, especially bringing in Savage in that midfield area, fresh legs. He can really play some balls, has a clear vision on the field as he just stepped in. So look for them to really try to find those dynamic attacking players who like to float into space.
And of note, Earls has not played a lot of minutes this year. And with 3 subs already in, he's going to have to go the full 90 tonight. Just 1 start. It was 2 months ago. King, the long throw. Popped up by McAndawiri. Parks. Now Kerr. Parks falls down. Free kick, and it'll be a slow walk forward for Pittsburgh as they try and milk the clock in the final 10.
20-minute autograph session on the field following tonight's game. Fans may enter the field at the east end of the stadium only. As a reminder, no food, drinks, or soccer balls are permitted on the field.
Gave the ball right away.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, that sounds awful. If you play that ball, if your Parks right there and play that ball, why give it away? That is unnecessary. That is not paying attention. Play the ball back. Or if you're going to hit it wide, play it with the purpose so it actually gets there.
Parks trying to play Herzog, who's offside.
Those are little things that allow Tampa Bay to get back into this game. If you're Pittsburgh and you can hit a pass to your teammate and allow them to go forward, maybe have a goal-scoring opportunity, maybe keep the ball and then pass it back to waste more time. But just to not snap that ball around and not connect that just gives Tampa Bay the ball right back. So if you're Pittsburgh trying to close out a game, that's not how you do it.
It's cumulative, isn't it, how much you defend when you give the ball away that easily.
Well, and especially if Tampa Bay has struggled to keep the ball and has been defending a lot.
Able to get this through. It's Cole. Had a wide open runner on the other post. A look at the game that has been. An early goal from Siobhan Walsh. An excellent pass forward in the 11th minute.
Just good vision from Herzog. A nice little diagonal run coming from Walsh. Able to touch it. Beautiful far post finish, but Joe Cole making his mark early, proving that he was going to be difficult to defend tonight, continues to be around goal, does a really good job of, whether it's the ball being laid back to him or a deflection, puts himself in a good position to have a look on frame, just hasn't been able to have one come off tonight.
Patterson tried to keep the ball. Cole, 4 shots, 1 on target thus far. Parks has it slid away by Schaefer and was trying to attack Collins. Here's Tam McAndawiri. Collins and Lowe had started 13 of the 15 games at center back. And to Tam McAndawiri's credit, he has not really struggled at all coming into this center back position. His experience has shown. That ball gets through. Probably should have been cleared. Okai slid in. Turn from Cole. Cross-field pass, wrist off. Too strong on his service. And knotted out. A corner for Luke Bowden and Tampa Bay. Rowdies have been the aggressor in this second half. They have not found the equalizer. Headed out by Busamande. They'll do it again. Or was it? Neil Collins is the one who's got his hands on his head.
Broom just done a really nice job tonight of stepping in at the last minute, especially in the second half. He's been under a lot of pressure. Done a really nice job of just playing back there, talking with his team, coming up big when he needs to.
Had the save of the night on Joe Cole previous, back in the first half. Thompson clears. And they'll bring it back. All the way back.
This is one of those decision-making moments for Pittsburgh. Do you hit it long? Do you have a player high up the field that you can try to find? Do you build up and just let Broom hit one long? It's about decision-making this late in the game. And if you're wrist off right there, that's not good decision making. Just his frustration's getting the best of him.
Now, what can Parks do with it? Thompson swarmed by 3 white jerseys. Okai plays it into space.
That's the ball I've been waiting for. Okai able to step in, turn his body, and find the other side. It makes Tampa Bay slide their defense over. It spreads out the field more. It allows Pittsburgh more space to play.
And they're going to use that space now. Ball line across for Herzog off the crossbar. Herzog quite nearly. He's looking for the ball again. It's Thompson. Herzog fires off the corner of the post. Herzog can't buy a goal, just one in his last 7, and somehow denied twice. Will the pendulum swing on that moment? That's so unlucky. It's just beyond words.
A player would be frustrated if one of those didn't happen throughout the game, but to have 2 back-to-back. I love the fact, though, when the first one didn't go in, you see Herzog backing up, getting back on sides, calling for the ball again. He wanted it back at his feet.
Morel making Broom work as it bounces off the top of the netting. How does Herzog not score on either of these?
I mean, just getting the separation he needed, a beautiful header to that far post. If it was just a little lower, it's finding that upper 90 corner, finding that far post. But what set all of that up is just the simple moving of the body from Okai and finding the other side. It unlocks the whole other side of the field.
It's one thing to try and knock time off the clock, but I think more importantly, it's just possessing the ball and creating attacking options.
And creating space to be able to possess the ball. Pittsburgh has struggled so much because they get the ball in a corner and then they try to play out of the same corner. Well, when Tampa Bay is completely slid over into that side, you have no options. So for Okai, just to be able to turn, it allows the outside back to get involved, and it just creates the space to make possession so much easier.
Still 2.5 minutes in stoppage time remaining. In Tampa Bay, due to Pittsburgh, what Richmond did to them on the weekend, a late equalizer. Pittsburgh keep their good home fortunes going at Highmark. Cole, diving header out. And now Parks. Parks speeding by Collins. He's in the clear now. Parks scores. That might do it for Pittsburgh, and the celebration is on point from Romeo Parks, who scored his second of the season. 2-0 Pittsburgh.
The insurance goal was so important there because Tampa Bay was starting to gain some momentum throughout the second half. Parks finding the space, getting in behind Collins, just a slotted finish to that far post. That insurance goal just changed the tone of this game. Tampa Bay was pushing forward. They had chances. They had the opportunity to tie this up. That is one that Tampa Bay let slip away once again. But for Romeo Parks, what a way to come in. I made that comment earlier about his poor pass. That's how you make up for it.
In the 89th minute, Romeo Parks does that and a bit more. Well, if you're Tampa Bay, that bit deflating, I'm sure. Parks' 7th goal with the Riverhounds. He scored 5 in 6 games last year, and then an incident that may well have derailed his career. But back with Pittsburgh and having scored his 2nd goal of 2017, getting it all back on track. Broom comes out with a 2-fisted punch. Parks trying to check himself back to stay on side, and Herzog's run on the end be unnecessary. Flag was up.
Herzog tried to stay on sides there. You could see him trying to back himself up, start to come wide, but I think just at the moment when Parks played that ball, just a tad off sides.
A minimum of 3 minutes.
We'll have 3 more minutes to go before this one's all said and done. Abubakar. King coming forward. Numbers up for Tampa Bay. King fires into the box. Lands on the foot of Savage. And now wrist off. Another save. That's 3 in a row from Broom. And Okai kicks it out. Unbelievable from Kiesel Broom. And now breaking through is Parks. And the save the other way for Pickens.
Kiesel Broom has no time for celebrating there, but 3 in a row, point-blank shots. And to keep his team focused. Wow.
Lengthy ball for Ristoff. That got out. It was Abubakar who went back to grab him, thank him for the saves. And he's saying, get upfield. This thing's not over yet.
I think he wants that to wait 2 more minutes. He
That's
didn't have
right.
time for that one.
Wow. Stands are moving back and forth. The fans in Pittsburgh can taste it now. This would put them into playoff position. Bowden will play it despite the ensuing pressure from Kerr. Kiesel Broom had allowed 5 goals in his only 2 starts this year. He's accorded himself tremendously tonight. Hasn't started in a couple of months. Trey Mitchell has taken the position and run with it. Mitchell's got 4 shutouts on the year. For Broom, he's on the verge of his first. King. Headed out by Okai. Rowdies load up again. Meanwhile, the Rowdies on the verge of a 6th consecutive league draw or defeat. 7 in all competitions. A line drive, punched away by Broom. The follow-up shot from McCandawary is up and over. And what a fitting way to finish. Kiesel Broom at full time, keeping the shutout for Pittsburgh. It's a 3-point performance and a 2-0 win.
I mean, Kiesel Broom. Those 3 saves in a row, why don't we just finish the last whistle on your last great save? I mean, what a game from him. Trey Mitchell injured in warm-ups. Kiesel Broom has to step up. He's waiting for that opportunity, but has to be ready to go, and just a great response from him throughout this 90 minutes.
The Steel Army congratulating their men who come away with a 2-0 win. Siobhan Walsh scored early. Romeo Parks iced it late. And if not for the late saves and heroics from Kiesel Broom, are we looking at a different result? Pittsburgh a 2-0 winner. We wrap it up. Highlights, stats after this.
With hundreds and hundreds of pre-owned vehicles for every budget, Number One Cochran is the one and only place you need to shop.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
Stay low, change of speed, explode, explode, trust it. Very nice, very nice.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with an orthopedic specialist at Allegheny Health Network.
You could spend lots of time searching lots of used car websites, or just visit Cochran.com to see lots and lots of vehicles.
More used cars, more ways to buy them. Shop Cochran.com now.
The homestand for Pittsburgh is off to a terrific start. It's a magnificent performance from Romeo Parks, from Kiesel Broom, from Siobhan Walsh. A 2-0 win over Tampa Bay that springs both teams at the end of the night into playoff position. Mike Watts with Morgan Conklin. Full-time highlights from this affair, and Pittsburgh getting the best of the opportunity in the 11th minute. Herzog finding Walsh.
Finding his way into the midfield, seeing Walsh with that high run, able to get in between the defenders. Bowden coming on his back just gets beat. He's able to cut it back. A nice finish from Walsh. I love the celebration. You can just see he made the most of his time, and he was extremely happy with that one.
First goal of the season, Patterson running in. Kiesel Broom didn't have a ton of work to do in that opening half. We move forward. Kerr, a header just over the bar.
Kevin Kerr seeing that space was open, going to attack it. A nice header. It's difficult there to keep it down. Just doesn't get on top of it enough.
Joe Cole robbed by Broom in the first half.
A little foreshadowing of what we would see from Broom throughout the second half. Cole slips in behind. That's a dangerous place for him, but Broom, just a beautiful save.
Speaking earlier this year with Dave Brandt, he said he's known for spectacular saves. We'll see more before the night is done. Opportunity for Pickens to get on the highlight reel.
Fitzpatrick just way too much time, but Pickens a nice job from very close distance.
Morrell sending it low. That was a bit easier. Nearly coughed up a rebound. Schaefer winding the ball into the middle of the area. Patterson over the bar. Some half chances for Tampa Bay.
And this was some of the buildup when Tampa Bay just had so many chances. They had 12 shots in that second half. Just so many chances getting forward, just weren't able to put one away.
Rowdies were closing in, but Parks got behind the defense, scores in the 89th, and ices the game.
Just the insurance goal. Parks using his speed to get behind Collins. Textbook finish, finding that far post.
Celebration, 1 to 10?
Pretty good.
9.6?
Yeah.
And then this at the end of the game. Savage, no. Ristoff, no. McCandawary, I don't think so. How about a shutout?
I mean, Broom, like. I mean, the last highlight just says it all.
5 shots on target for the Rowdies, and in truth, 3 of them came in the 90th minute, all on 1 possession. What do you take away from the larger statistical element here?
I think for Tampa Bay, they had the buildup. They had so many opportunities. They had about a 20-minute span, it seemed like, in the second half where we were just waiting for them to put one away. Weren't able to do that. That's some of the frustration they're dealing with right now because they're not playing bad. They're just not able to put one away to get results.
Fans on their way onto the field at Highmark for the Riverhounds. Their next game against a vaunted attack from the Charlotte Independents at Highmark Stadium comes on July 1st. Meanwhile, for the Rowdies, it's on the road to the #1 team in the Eastern Conference, the Charleston Battery. On July 1st, that game kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern. Early, it was Siobhan Walsh in the 11th minute, his first goal of the season. The Highmark Stadium crowd loved it. Parks in the 89th, the all-important second goal to keep the Rowdies away. For producer Sharni Yerke and director Scott Ferguson, Mitchell Talana, analyst Morgan Conklin, Mike Watts saying so long. Broome is a hero. The Riverhounds are a winner, 2-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.